Hello, everybody. In this video, we're taking a look at the possibility of the 22nd Amendment being overturned, which would allow a incumbent president or just a president in general who served 2 terms to run for a third term. So Trump keeps hinting that he wants to run for a third term. But the only way that's going to happen is if he gets some Democratic votes, because you need like 2/3 of either Congress or like state legislatures to just decide to change the amendment. So he would need a lot of Democratic support here to really do that. And it's possible that Democrats would like to see a return of Barack Obama to the scene. So really, it's pretty much dependent on getting Democratic votes to really get rid of the 22nd Amendment. There's also another method where maybe the Supreme Court could change it. That's unlikely. I think the best way to go about it is you need Democratic support to change it. But that would enable Barack Obama and Donald Trump to run for a historic third term against each other. And this would be a pretty good matchup. Democrats would have a pretty solid candidate in Barack Obama, while Donald Trump definitely energizes the Republican base, but he would be 82 at this point in the election, so he'd be very much on the older side. Now, before we even get into this video, just as I'm setting up the safe states, if you aren't subscribed to the channel yet, you should heavily consider, especially if you like political content like this. I'd appreciate it. Okay, so let's just get right into the video. So, starting off, I would put Alaska as safe red. Obama never really got that into likely red territory before. Florida and Texas, I actually think these would drop down to likely Republican states. I think Barack Obama would definitely energize minority turnout in both these states. He would do both black voters and Latino voters. So that would be enough to drag Texas back to likely Republican and Florida back to likely Republican. However, they're still out of reach for the Democrats. In Iowa and Ohio, I also think these states would be dragged down to likely Republican status. I think Obama would definitely get a lot of voters who voted for him in 2008 and 2012 back to his side. However, Trump has made significant inroads in the rural parts of these states, which is why these states would still be likely Republican. In Nebraska second, I think Obama would win it by a likely blue margin, assuming they don't change the district maps here. However, if they do change how Nebraska functions, they change it to winner-take-all, then Maine's very likely to change it to winner-take-all. So speaking of Maine, I also think Obama would win by a likely blue margin, while Maine second goes to Trump. In New Mexico and Virginia, I think these states obviously would be likely blue states. I even think in New Jersey, I think Obama would be good enough of a candidate to fix a Democratic problem in New Jersey. He would energize Democrats in this state, and he'd be able to win it back by a safe blue margin of about 10 points. In Minnesota, the next likely blue state, I think Obama would definitely win this state by an over 5-point margin, probably win it by about 7. Again, I think he would do well in the urban parts of Minnesota, definitely getting even higher turnout than Harris did. I also think he would do well in New Hampshire. He would definitely win over more independents than Harris did in this state, which would give him a good win there. Okay, now that we set up all the likely states, let's head into the more competitive ones, which are the lean states. So, starting off in Michigan, I think Obama would do great with black turnout in this state. He also would win a lot of independent voters and former Obama Trump voters. I think a good amount of them would go back to him, so I think he'd win it by a lean blue margin. I also think he would do very well in neighboring Wisconsin. In Pennsylvania, I also think he would do really well. I think the whole Rust Belt here, the Rust Belt trio, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, all ends up voting for him by a lean blue margin. Again, Donald Trump is going to be 82 in this hypothetical matchup. He's going to be extremely old. He's probably going to be similar to how Biden performed in the debates, where he was just kind of very confused. I think we'll probably see that happen to Trump here if he does accept to do a debate. There's a possibility he doesn't even debate Obama because he maybe knows he would be too old to debate him. That's a real possibility, but that would also show on the campaign trail, so Obama would definitely be able to out-campaign him. Going down to Georgia, I also think this would be a lean blue state. I think Obama would do amazing with black turnout in the state of Georgia, especially with Georgia still getting more diverse every year. This is definitely going to help Obama going forward. So I think he would carry Georgia by a lean blue margin. In North Carolina, even, I actually think Obama would also be able to flip this state by a narrow margin. Again, Georgia and North Carolina, they're usually not so far apart from each other in terms of how they vote. North Carolina is typically a 1 point redder, but I think with Obama winning Georgia by a pretty comfortable margin, he would also carry North Carolina. And we also have polling to really back up that Obama would beat Trump. We saw Obama like leading Trump by 6 in a poll before, so I think that's kind of accurate to how Obama would win. I don't think it would be by a 6 point margin. I think it would be by like a 3 point margin against Trump he would win by. But now we're down to Nevada and Arizona. I think Obama would be able to repair the Democratic coalition in Nevada. He would win over the independents and get a lot higher Democratic turnout in Las Vegas, which would be enough to turn it back into a lean blue state. However, with Arizona, it's kind of too far gone for Democrats now. The Republicans keep growing their registration advantage in this state. They're doing better in Maricopa County. I think Trump still wins this state by a lean Republican margin against Barack Obama. So Obama nearly wins every swing state in this election, with not winning Arizona. It's the one thing he misses. But I think Obama would be one of the strongest 2028 Democratic candidates that they could run. And this is only in the scenario that the 22nd Amendment's overturned, which is already very unlikely, and it's probably not going to happen, but you never know. So this is what an Obama versus Trump matchup would look like. It'd be quite the interesting one. I think Obama wins the popular vote by 3% against Donald Trump in this matchup. But he wins most of the swing states comfortably. Like, they're not really all in a tilt blue margin except for North Carolina. He gets a pretty decent sized victory for what a Democrat could win by nowadays, considering that Texas, Florida, Ohio, and Iowa are just safe red in most elections nowadays. But yeah, if you have any video recommendation ideas, you should totally let me know down in the comments below. I'll definitely consider them and go through them and all that. But thanks so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.